Can you put me on the other side of you?
It doesn't give me the option.
Okay. We live now?
Oh,
Are we recording?
it's live. Yep.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Slotin, and welcome to the Arthritis Answer. This is my wife, Christina Slotin.
Hello.
We're the owners of the Herbal Cottage and Fitness Therapy. And for the last 30 years, I've been personal training and helping people with massage therapy deal with their pain. Christina has rheumatoid arthritis, and she's been dealing with it for the last 26 years. And we have been struggling to find ways to treat her so that she can have a healthier, happier, full life and overcome this autoimmune disease. And what we have learned using herbs is that it takes a combination of herbs, food, ferments, and functional movement in order to really feel well. And now what we're trying to do is share what we have learned as professional helpers, as herbalists and pain relievers. And we want to provide that information to you for free. And we do make things for pain relief that you can't find at other places. And if you need some or want to try our formulas, well, we invite you to try them. But the main point of this is to build a community, talk to each other about what is truly happening and how to find a way to overcome this autoimmune immune disease. So the fact is that we want to really encourage you to understand that, yes, there is a way to overcome this problem. Just like there was a process that started this disease, there is a process that unwinds it and resolves it. And we believe it really starts in your GI tract. We depend on the microbiome to supply and to support our healthy immune system, our digestion, our brain health, our energy, and our hormones. So if we could restore our GI tract and that the healthy and friendly bacteria were performing their jobs, we would not feel or not suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. Now, today I want to talk to you. This is our very first YouTube Live, and we're going to be bringing you information about exercises that actually turn pain off. Have you ever experienced sometimes where you have pain and then it goes away and then it comes back? Well, that indicates that there's switches that turn pain on and off. And we want to identify those switches and learn how to use those switches so that you have an advantage and that you can control your discomfort. One of the things we found was there's a host of movements that actually turn pain off. And I would be happy to share what I've learned over 30 years of personal training. In addition to that, Christina can talk to you about what herbs turn pain off. And there are mechanisms that we'll be happy to discuss that actually cause to force inflammation down and to turn up things like glutathione that heals the body. And then we have to learn to eat foods that reduce inflammation and restores the body, but only if the microbiome is doing its proper job of digesting foods and pulling nutrients out of the food and making them available for us. So we're going to be talking about ferments and specific strains of bacteria and how to utilize them. We do like Dr. Davis's Super Gut, and he utilizes making yogurt out of specific strains of aerobic bacteria. And we're going to talk to you about doing that and getting into a routine of making different strains of yogurt to establish a resident bacterial balance in your GI tract. Now, I guess what's on my mind today is how many times I will be reading or studying some information about health and I'll go, oh, that's interesting, that's a good idea, and not have the bandwidth to really pay attention to it. Like I'll think about it, but then I won't utilize it, I won't employ it, I just actually forget about it. And then I'll come across it again and I'll get a little nudge that says, hey, this is important, pay attention to this. And I'll think, sure. And I just let it go until I have a eureka moment. I'm exposed at the right time to the same information for maybe a third, fourth, or fifth time and go, oh, wow, I see it now. It's huge and very important. And one of those things that is huge and very important that has just struck me profoundly this week was that I talk about how our great grandparents had over 700 different friendly bacterial species. And there are still groups, of course, that can be found with this many friendly bacteria. But the average American only has 270 friendly species on average. Now, you can be less. And I think there's a tipping point where if you fall below that, you actually start to experience some disease. So thinking about how we've lost more than half of our friendly bacteria, I've been saying this for years, it's so important, but in those bacterial absences, in the absence of the friendly bacteria, what has moved in? What colony now is dominating most Americans' GI tract? And it turns out that it's yeast, and yeast some people call it candida. But when people come in to our herbal apothecary, they'll say real quietly, do you have anything for a yeast infection, a UTI? They'll say, I'm having also outbreaks. I have, something going on with my skin. I have something going on with my digestion. I am bloating. I go between constipation and diarrhea. And all these, my brain function is not good, and I have low energy. And all of these are symptoms of yeast infections. And so I really think that it's not a minor, but it's a major thing. And Christina made up a antifungal, anti-yeast formula that I talked about yesterday, where it had
the Pau
d'Arco bark. It also had, I'll let Christina, the herbalist, tell us about it.
Yeah, so let's say I put usnea, a lichen. That's really wonderful. And then Oregon grapefruit. I think you only talked about 3 of the herbs. I did put some wormwood. And it's interesting because these herbs are not only antifungal, right? But they're also effective against different infections, bacterial infections, and parasites.
Excellent.
So again, those are all the things that move in when we don't have enough of a microbiome. And women know this all the time. If the doctor gives you an antibiotic, usually you'll end up with a yeast infection because it just wiped out your good bacteria.
And so that connection has always been known to me for the last 40 years about the relationship between taking an antibiotic and then having a yeast infection. So, but if we are suffering from autoimmune disease, we really have I think probably confident to say that you have a overgrowth of yeast. And taking this antifungal has really changed the way I feel. I have greater energy. I have greater clarity of thought and speech, and I've been able to spend more time with my son, and we have gotten along better. I think that this is really important enough for me to say, I want you to consider how critical it is to bring down the toxic load that yeast produces. And when you start to bring down the toxic load, then the die-off is going to make you feel a little uncomfortable, possibly. That's why you have to carefully start to increase your fiber. And Christina wanted to say something in this same regards about how important it is, because there's been a lot of news recently about food safety and about lettuce and other things. So did you want to say something?
Yeah, and I have been wondering, maybe, I know that there are specific organisms that have been identified in the lettuce outbreak recently, but I wonder, they've probably been there all along. Maybe it's also a sign of, the microbiome in this country, that we don't have enough of the good guys to help us battle the bad guys out. And so maybe it's particularly important, for us to think about it, that our food safety is also our responsibility. In addition to the people that are, making that product, is that we need to make sure we have a robust microbiome so that it can handle things that we come across. Because we come across bacteria all the time, just being amongst other humans. So you certainly food. Maybe we would be able to have a stronger resistance against things like that.
So just like something like COVID took out people that did not have a healthy microbiome, also these strains or infections that come from parasites or yeast or other things, we are now more susceptible than ever. And so if we're going to combat these things, if we're going to protect our own health, the responsibility of building or improving our gut seems to be a logical approach. So I hope that you kind of agree with us that, yes, maybe taking an antifungal at the beginning of this process of restoring your GI tract is a good idea. And if you want to know more about what we produce or recommend, you can do it at home. We can actually make a video if you request it on how to make your own antifungal formula at home. And if you want to buy ours and save yourself some trouble, then we'll make it for you. But we want you to know how to move forward. Anyway, really, that's all I have for you today on our first YouTube Live. And we want to come to you every day at 9:45. Now, if there is a request to start at 9:30, we will make it. But since we started today at 9:45, we want to be consistent. That is just 15 minutes before we open the store at 10 o'clock. So it works for us. If it works for you, then that's great. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, you want to get in touch with us, just look up the either the Arthritis Answer on the school platform or the Herbal Cottage.
Yeah, you can message us on both on the website for the Herbal Cottage and also on the school community. And I'm usually reading the messages every day. And then if you join us on the live here, you can actually ask questions and we'll try to answer them while we're on. All right.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Take care.